Autobots roll out. Yes. Today we're going to talk about a double feature, more specifically an animated double feature I got to check out in the movie theaters very recently. The first film we're going to start off with today is the 2024 Transformers 1. When I first heard that they were kind of doing a prequel to the Transformers movies and it was an animated film, skeptical wouldn't even begin to describe my feelings towards this movie. The trailers don't make this film look good at all. Whoever made the trailer for this movie should be fired.
You're fired!
It does not do this film justice. This movie was awesome. This was such an amazing, fun, engaging time at the theaters. I didn't even know I wanted a prequel story to Transformers for Optimus Prime and Megatron, yet this film totally nails it. The voice cast of this movie is spectacular. I thought both the leads of Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry were fantastic as Optimus Prime and Megatron respectively. Their voices were awesome. They had that camaraderie which you believe that these two characters would have had in the past, yet it still made sense for the story that they were trying to tell, this origin story of these characters. And I thought the two actors were great. The rest of the cast was awesome. The action in this movie is awesome and really great. I thought it was really fun and cartoonish, of course, and really great for kids, yet had a dark side to it and actually told a really fun and interesting character piece at the center of it that is ultimately backed up by these amazing visuals as well. The animation is really cool and a bit different than stuff we've seen on screen before. And what was cool about it was that it had that messy sort of style of animation that, you know, a lot of movies are doing lately, like Captain Underpants, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. And this definitely had sort of that vibe, but of course a Cybertron take on it. And I thought the animation was gorgeous in this movie. The story that they told mostly worked, and I thought was a great origin story for these characters. Something that I didn't know I wanted to see, but apparently I did, because this movie totally justified why it should be made. And honestly, the animation world is perfect for Transformers, perfect for this story, because doing this as a live action, not that it's bad in the Michael Bay movies and stuff like that, and Bumblebee, like they're fine movies, but they're not quite fitting for Transformers. And I didn't know how to put my finger on it for all these years, but I guess some fans have been screaming it since the beginning that, yeah, this should be an animated movie. Let's do more of these. Like, this is the right medium, the right style to tell this story and this world in. It's really funny at parts. Of course, I think it's more kid humor, and it's definitely geared more towards children, which is totally fine. Nothing wrong with kids' movies. The biggest problem for me with this film was that there were some story beat issues. There were things that this movie kind of meanders throughout its story, especially in the first 20-30 minutes of this film. I was like, yeah, it's cute, it's like a kid's movie, but there's nothing much to it. As this film goes on and on, it picks up more and more speed, and we get more and more invested in these characters in this story, and it eventually gets to where I thought I absolutely loved it. But it took a while to get there, and I thought the second half of this film is a lot better than the first half. And if you can get over that first initial 20-30 minutes, I think you'll be really totally invested and in for the ride. This movie does have like a road trip feel to it, but then like it's also an action movie and it's all these different things. And I don't know if it quite balanced the tone of all these different styles fully, especially for an animated film. And then there was the turn of Megatron, the character that I thought was cool and great to see on screen, but I felt a bit rushed, especially in an hour and 40 something minute movie. It could have been fleshed out a bit more, or it could have spent a little bit more time on his actual turn to the quote-unquote dark side.
Now you will experience the full power of the dark side.
But overall, I had a great time with this film. I thought it was really fun. It was engaging. It was awesome to see on the screen. And if you're an animated lover, I don't think you're going to have much more of a better time at the theaters this year than this film. And if you are a Transformers fan, whew, you're in for a treat, man. You're in for a treat.
Give me more treats!
So I'm going to go ahead and give Transformers 1 a B+. The other double feature film I saw was The Wild Robot. This is a film from DreamWorks. I know this is one that's been in development for a few years now. People have talked about this movie and have really hyped it up and made it one of the most anticipated films of this year, which was really weird and surprising. So I finally got to see it, and yes, it is definitely worth the hype. I thought this is a awesome DreamWorks animated film. People are saying it's in like their top 5 or even their top 3 DreamWorks movies. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I'm not quite saying it's good as Kung Fu Panda or Shrek or anything like that.
Can't we just settle this over a pint?
It's a cool original story. It's got a great script. It's a very sweet children's movie about parenting, about being an adopted parent or adopted child, the stresses of growing up, and really what it takes to be, responsible for someone else's life. It's definitely, again, geared towards younger audiences and kids. Of course, it's a kids movie, and that's great. I just think it is not an adult film. It's nothing like Shrek or Kung Fu Panda in a way. I love that they are able to build a story about this robot, and beautifully portrayed by Lupita Nyong'o in probably the best voice acting role of maybe this year. And I'm curious to see where other films are going to stack up against this performance. But I thought she was spectacular as Roz. Instant classic lovable character that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about for a long time to come. Also, I'm watching the film and I love this fox, and I'm like, I love this fox. Why do I like this character so much? Who's voicing this role? Halfway through the movie, I figure out it's Pedro Pascal, and of course, he's one of my favorites. The rest of the voice cast was amazing too. I thought a particular shout out to the Beaver in this movie, who I just absolutely loved, from the hilarious British actor Matt Berry, from What We Do in the Shadows TV show.
Where did you get them from?
Amazon.
Well, then you get in your car and you drive back to the Amazon.
That's not how that works online.
Shut your mouth!
The animation is stunning, absolutely gorgeous to look at. I just kept looking at the screen going, God, look at all the detail. Look at the gorgeous visuals they're able to create on screen to tell this story, and it was just so well executed. It's hilarious at times. There's definitely some laugh out moments, and for sure kids are going to be giggling throughout this entirety of this film. There's a lot of hilarious jokes and gags that come back even and are repeated throughout this movie that I absolutely loved. It pulls on the heartstrings. There's definitely a moment in this film where I did tear up a little bit. I was wiping away some tears, but not like a full-out ugly cry, like I have with other films, especially other animated films like this. This ain't no Up. But I did have an emotionally invested feeling towards the characters and to the story. And I thought if you can get me to do that, especially with an animated film, I mean, you're doing something right. My biggest qualm with this movie is that it is definitely unevenly paced. There is a great first hour of this movie, and then the last, 30-35 minutes is a bit shaky. It does kind of meander by its story, and it gets back on track eventually, but there's some stuff with humans and these ducks flying for migration, and I just thought it was a little unnecessary. We kind of took the focus away from Roz and what her journey was, and I didn't know if they necessarily needed to do that. Definitely pulls back the pacing and the tone of the film overall. The other thing is that this movie definitely feels like it stole a bunch of ideas and stuff from movies like Migration, The Iron Giant, Bambi, Pocahontas, even a little bit of Tarzan is in there. And they kind of mix-matched a bunch of that stuff and put it into this film. Did feel a little bit repetitive from other films in the past, and a little bit predictable too. I thought if they had taken the direction of this movie in the last 10-15 minutes a different route, this could have been one of the most impactful movies of this year, but they definitely decided not to go that route and play it a very safe and secure and snuggly kind of film.
She feels nice and secure. There you are.
But ultimately, this is a friggin' hilarious and fun animated film. I definitely say you should check out this film. If you're going to go see any animated film in the theater over the next month or two, this is the one to go see. I think your kids will enjoy it. Children in general are going to be going nuts for some of these animated characters. Yeah! So I'm gonna go ahead and give The Wild Robot an A-. Thank you so much for checking out Mr. T's Film Preach. If you like this video, please make sure you click that like button and subscribe down below for more content. Also, while you're down there, comment, what did you think of these two films? Transformers 1 and The Wild Robot. Have you seen either one of these? Which one did you absolutely love? Did you love both of them? What is your favorite animated films of 2024 so far? Let me know with your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you so much for doing that. Come back and check out some other video reviews such as Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on the next film.